Welcome to another Flutter Form tutorial video. In this episode, let's learn how we can customize text form field widget and also how to add validation to forms in Flutter. So in the last episode, we created this form right here where we have the email and also the password. As we have this form so far, when you click on submitted, we can see we are seeing this message right here, form submitted successfully, but we don't have any validation as the form is so far. So in this episode, let's learn first of all how to customize each input field, and then let's learn how we can add validation. So before that, let's first of all center this form right here. So for that, let's come right here. Let's change this list view widget to be a column widget. Then let's wrap this column widget with a container widget. So we can select this margin property, cut it, and paste it right here. Then let's use a center widget here instead of using container widget. And then let's apply some properties to this column widget. So let's use the main axis alignment with the value of center, and then cross axis alignment with the value of stretch. So when you save everything, your form will be centered. So now to customize this text form field, we'll use this input decoration. This is the same class that we saw in the video about text field widget. So basically we'll use the same properties right here to customize our input field. So for this episode, I just want to use a few properties. So after this label, I want to use the hint text. So come right here, the text will be enter email. Give it a comma right here, and let's use fix icon to add an icon after this input field. So right here you can call an icon widget, and for the icons, let's use the email icon. So give it a comma right here, and then we can override the border. So you can use this outline input border. And if you want to change the color and the weight, you can use right here the border side. This will take the border side class. You can use the color. You can use colors.black. Give it a comma, and also the weight, let's say 0.5. So add a comma. Size of this border, you can also override your borders based on your text form field state. So for example, we have a border for error border, enable border, focus border, disable border, and so on. So for this episode, let's use this focus border. This will take the same class outline border, so you can just copy these properties right here and just paste it here. So let's remove the weight and let's change this color to be green. Give it a comma right here. You can use enable border, you can use the outline border. So again, copy the same properties, just change the color to be gray. So we're not gonna overwrite the color for the error border. We'll use the default one, so give it a comma right here. So besides of using this input decoration to customize your input text field, we also have another properties you can use, like the keyboard type. This will take the text input, and here we have a few values that you can use. We'll have for this one email address because we are using for this email, but we also have other values like the multi-line, date, time, name, none, number, phone, street address, text, Twitter, URL, visible password, and so on. So let's use this one to be email address. And also when you are using the validation, you can use right here auto validate mode. This will take this auto validate mode class, and you can see the value can be right here always. So always validate, you can disable it. So you can use this one on focus. So when we click on it, after we remove, we can see the validation will run for this text form field widget. So now let's copy these properties and apply to the password field. So copy all this property, come right here, add a comma here, also add a comma right here, and then just paste everything. So now let's change this one to be password. And also let's change the icon. Instead of using the email, let's use this visibility. So now save everything. We can see now we have our input field. So now when you click on it, you can see the color is green because this is in focus. Now let's remove the focus, and you can see right here for the password. We're not seeing any validation because we don't have validation so far. So now I want to show you where we can get the values that for each input field and save it on a variable and then show it back to the user. So for that, let's create two variables right here. This will be of type nullable strings. So we can make it private. This will be email, give it a comma, and then private password. Add a semicolon. So let's call it inside of this text form field. If you hover over it, we'll see we have this callback method called onSave. So let's use this one to set the value for the email and the password. So come right here after the input decoration, call this onSave method. This will give us this arrow function and the new value as an argument. So we can do right here the email. This will be equal to this new value. So let's copy this callback method and let's do the same thing for the password. So come right here, paste it. Now change this one to be password. So now let's display this password and this email to the user. So come right here, remove this constant so we don't get an error. So you can do right here, email, column, do a $sign and then call this email, then and a password, column, $sign, password. So save everything. So now let's enter the email. So let's say devdesignduo@gmail.com, and then this one will be password. So click on submit. You can see right here we get in the email and the password. But notice that we still don't have a validation because we can submit an empty form. So now let's see how we can apply validation. So besides of this onSave callback, we also have this validator property or method. This will return a nullable string. So we can use right here an arrow function. So we can do right here. For the password, I want to use an anonymous function. So I can do right here. If the value is null or the value dot is empty, I want to return. So password is required. Add a semicolon. I want to do another condition right here. If now the value dot the length property is less than 6, I want to return. So the message will be password must be at least 6 characters long. Add a semicolon right here. So if this will pass this validation and also this one, we can just call return null. Notice this is because we are returning a nullable string. So when the validation is not valid, we'll display the message based on the error. But when it's valid, we can return a null. So let's do the same thing for the password. So come right here, call the validator. So we can use right here this arrow function. So you can do right here, if the value dot is empty, you can do a question mark. You have to use right here the exclamation mark to make sure the value is not null. So we can do right here, email is required. Otherwise, we return null. So usually after that, you have to come right here in on your bottom and you do a condition as we have here. So we don't need to do it. So when this validate will run, we'll check right here if it's valid. This will run each validator for each input field. So if you have any error, this will fail. So we will not be able to save our input field and instead we'll see the error message. Otherwise, if this is valid, So we'll get to this safe, and this safe is responsible to run this unsafe method. So we are able to set this password and also this email. Notice we are not using the set state to update this email. This is because the form will handle its state by himself, so we don't have to do that for us. So now let's check it. So now save everything. If you try to submit the empty form, you will see right here the email is required and also the password is required. So let's remove this arrow. So let's call this DEVDSNDUO at gmail.com. And then let's say pass. Try to submit it. We'll see right here password. Actually, we misspell right here. Password must be at least 6 characters long. So let's say password. Submit the form. You can see right here we get the email and also the password. So now before we finish this video, let's change the shape of this submit button. So come right here. Let's call the shape property. And then let's use this property right here. Or this class rounded rectangular border. You can use the border radius property. This will take the border radius as circular. Let's say the value will be 9.0. So save everything. So let's reload our form. So now I want to show you another validation that we can apply to our email. So for that, I will paste this code right here. So first of all, let's go inside of this unsafe on validator right here. Instead of using this arrow function, let's use an anonymous function and let's paste this code right here. First, let's do our validation right here. If the value is empty, we'll return our text. So copyright this one, paste it right here, add a semicolon, and then we can delete everything here, add exclamation mark, and then we can do right here if the regex is a class that you can use to see the regular expression for each type of values that we have. If you go to Google and you do regular expression in Dart, you will learn how you can create your own regular expression. This one is just for validating the email format, so we can do right here exclamation mark, so we deny if this email regex dot as match, we can pass right here the value. We'll return a string right here, so return, and the string will be enter a valid email address. And then we can do right here return null. So now let's test it. So let's say dev.gmail.com, and then let's say this one password. So we can see we are getting this error right here before we click on the submit button. This is because we are using this auto validate mode with this unfocus. So when the input field lose the focus, the validation will run. So let's fix it. So you can come right here. Let's say dev@gmail.com, submit the form, and you can see now we are able to submit a form. So this is how we can customize text form field and also how to add validation to your forms in Flutter. So this is it for this video. If you find this video useful, give a like and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is it. See you on the next one.